My name's Delaney, and I have the honor of meeting some pretty cool people. These are the entrepreneurs, the artists, the creatives, the game changers that are making a positive impact in the people that they meet. And I'm a firm believer that the people that you meet can get you anywhere you want to go. And this show is my way of sharing them with you. It's my way of also helping you meet cool people.
All right, hey there guys, Eli here, and welcome to today's Meet Cool People. Now I'm going to do something a little bit different. Today we don't have a guest. I'm not a big fan of doing these by myself. Maybe at some point I'll do, whether it's this show or start another show that does have more teaching kind of moments type of things, but I haven't done one of these yet, but I thought it was something that actually came up I thought might be really helpful for you, because I posted something just a week or so ago about all the momentum that I'm getting in my business right now, and why it's because of all the stuff I've spent the last 6 months busting my butt to get to happen. And that whole thing, you plant the seeds today for the fruits of tomorrow kind of thing. And somebody came back and actually asked me, I shared this whole article, a blog post that I did about it. And somebody came back and one of the things I had talked about was your relationships. And she was like, how do you foster these relationships? How are you building these relationships? And I thought it might actually come in handy to talk about that kind of stuff because, for me, I've been in business for so long. Like my first business, I started in 95, 96. It was a web and graphic design agency. And I built that business through networking, through connecting with people. And the funny thing is that a lot of people don't realize this. I'm an introvert. I stay at home by myself. I stick around. My energy gets drained. When I go do the public stuff, it drains me so hard that depending on the intensity of it, there are times where I literally will need 12 hours of sleep to recover. That's a nature. I mean, if you're an introvert, and this is I'm talking to you guys, if you're an introvert, don't think that you can't do this stuff, because I am. And most people don't realize it because of the fact that I've done so well with it over the years. I have been working on this and figuring out how my energy levels work and my body works in order to manage that energy and manage what needs to happen to build the right relationships, which helps me grow my business. It builds stronger relationships for life, which is even better. I can say a lot of times, some of my best friends were clients first, and I'm very proud of that. And so I want you to kind of think about some of the things that you could be doing to, get out there and meet cool people and have these conversations. But you've got to build that bigger picture above and beyond. So I'm going to try to kind of just play with this, and I'm going to bring up my screen here. So you're going to listen to this on the audio standpoint. There will be a video version of it as well. Try to find the video version because there will be some, I'll be drawing some stuff out as we go. But I just kind of want to put this out here so you guys can check this out. So let me switch over to my other screen here. And what I want you to think about is, first and foremost, is who do you need to know, okay? Who do you not just need to know, but who do you want to know? Who are the types of people? And we're not necessarily thinking specific people yet. Think of it from a higher level. Who are you hanging out with? Because you've heard this probably a million times. You're the sum of the 5 people you hang out with. Well, if you're not getting the results you have, maybe it's because you probably need to find some new friends. And so you want to think about, who are those people? Who are the type of people, especially when it comes to your business? You want to be hanging out with the type of people that you want as great clients and great referral partners, mastermind partners, people that you can go to help you when you need advice, and you can be there for them when they need it. People like that. And you want to start and actually make a list of these people. Where are they? You may not have specific names. If you do, great, go ahead and write that down. But think about that. Who do you need to know? Who should you be hanging out with? And look at their demographics, okay? Where are they? What do they, what occupations, what industries are they in? What part of town, where, geographics, psychographics, Are they married? Are they single? Are they dog people? I mean, for me, that's one of the great things is I tend to attract a lot of dog people because that's part of my personality. I also attract a lot of people that are misfits, which for me is a lot of fun because I'm a misfit and I've just learned how to deal with it better. And I've always done that my entire life, to be perfectly honest. I mean, I always have this running joke that I collect people, just not in a Dexter kind of way. I find people that are the outcasts that feel like they're different, and sometimes it's very obvious that they're different. But because of my communication with them, they feel like they trust me, and that's what I'm going for. So, you got to find those kind of things, and once you've done that, then you figure out where are they? Okay, are they hanging out at country clubs, or are they hanging out at the game store down the street playing D&D? I mean, seriously, this is what we're talking about here. Are they hanging out at the dog park? Are they going to festivals? Funny thing is, totally unrelated, I have gotten myself into a community of people that, without realizing it, several of them are in the Renaissance Fair world. And we didn't connect on that. We connected through business, but I'm a Ren Fair nerd. Success Champions is a group that I'm part of. You've probably heard several of my guests that are part of it. And I found out Donnie is a Ren Fair nerd as well. He connected me with a dude who actually performs at some of the shows, doing, I think it's fire shows and I know sword shows. And I find some of these other people that are that way. You know, we have these connections with various people on a personal level that lead to business as well. So where are they hanging out? And those are the top things you want to look at, because you want to be wherever they are. If you can be wherever they are, then you have a higher chance of finding more people like them. I mean, it really is that simple. But once you've done that, building the relationship, there's a couple of things with this that I think are really important to talk about. You've got to look at how can you build the relationship first before you actually are asking for something. And I've seen a lot of people, a great example is I have a ton of people that keep coming to me just to be a guest on this show. I don't know them. They've reached out with the entire purpose of wanting to get on my show, not to get to know me, not to see if they're even a good fit. They think they're a good fit just because they think that they are. I mean, it's like, and my criteria for being a guest on this show is pretty high, quite honestly. I don't just invite random guests. The people that are on this show, the Me Cool People show, are here because of the fact that I have met them and had a great conversation with them. When I've had that conversation, we hit it, we gelled. There was some kind of connection point. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, we need to have another conversation, but we need to record it and make it part of the show. Some of these people, a great example of this is Debbie Potter. So she was a guest on the show, and I have known her most of my life. Like she is literally my longest standing friend in my entire life. We've known each other since like first grade. And she's got her business. She does custom boutique dog treats. Okay. By the way, if you have a dog, these are the best of the best. You definitely need to go back, listen to that episode, go order some. Your dogs will thank me later. Okay. But, I have known her forever. And that's why I know her integrity. I know what kind of person she is. I know her from an emotional level because we've been friends for so long. And of course, I was like, of course I want you on my show. Because she's doing business stuff. She's doing cool stuff. She's very, very into the health and the science behind it to make sure that your dogs are getting the best of the best. That's somebody that I know I can trust to be out there. And I have some people that are very, very new friends. Camille Diaz is a great example of this. This is somebody that we just met not that long ago, but we met through Success Champions. A lot of my guests have actually been through Success Champions because that's where a lot of my connections and my network have been lately. But she ended up being on the show because she reached out to me to connect as being part of the organization. And we ended up hitting it off, like immediately hit it off. She's also a Ren Fair nerd. And I was like, you know what? I want you on my show. Here's a link. Go grab a spot. She didn't ask for it. And the reason I'm sharing this stuff is because she didn't ask for it. And yes, there are times when you need to ask. And there are certain shows that it's great for asking if you're looking to get on podcasts. But these people did not come to me going, hey, you should have me as a guest on your show. They came to me to get to know me first. And I say this distinction because of the fact that I know from a personal standpoint, and I know many of you listening to this have been here before, where you're doing something cool and people start glomming around because they want to be part of something cool because it'll make them cool. And I get it. I totally get it. But when you come from the place of just being selfish and it's only for you, it removes the authenticity of it. And so when you find these people, when you figure out the where, figure out what you can do to help them. What can you do to make their life better? Okay? So I'm going to write the what on here. What can you do to add value to their life? And that's a matter of, that's not just a, hey, I'm going to have you on my podcast and you should be on or I should be on your podcast kind of thing. That's a tit for tat kind of thing. No, that's not what we're talking about. And maybe it is be a guest on your podcast, inviting them on. Maybe, I have people that I've talked to that I haven't had something specific that I could give them or a connection necessarily. But then I heard something going on with him. I was like, you know what? I got an idea for you. Here's something you could do that would help you achieve XYZ, whatever that is. And I'll literally give them a strategy that comes right out of my coaching program. And I'll walk them through the entire thing. Or sometimes it's a, hey, you know what? I know who you need to know. Let me introduce you to that person. It's a great example of that one. Also, more recently, Andrew Biernat. So he and I met because the creator of Story Builders had reached out to me to talk to me about revamping my book or possibly doing a new one. And then he immediately in that conversation, and it was just a LinkedIn conversation, but he introduced me to Andrew. He said, you know what, telling your story, I think you might be a good guest for this podcast we've got. Let me introduce you to Andrew. And so I ended up talking to Andrew. Andrew and I hit it off just immediately. Super, super cool dude. And so not only do we have like a pre-call to get to know each other and for him to decide if I was going to be even a good guest for a show, which by the way, none of this, I didn't ask for it. Okay, I was just talking to the other dude and the communication just happened. And Andrew and I just hit it off really well. He wanted me on his show. We recorded it and we now had 2 conversations that were just really good conversations. I felt like this is another guy I can trust. And he means well. And I was like, you know what? I'd love to have you as a guest on my show. So we ended up booking on the show. He turns around after the show. He introduces me to Justin Peters, also became a guest on the show. He and I had a call. We had the call and we hit it off. And he invited me to meet Justin because Justin and I are both in the podcast space. Like I have a podcast. He's a podcast producer. And he actually Andrew wanted me to meet him because of being a podcast producer in case I ever needed somebody down the road. But we ended up hitting it off. He invited me to a group that he runs and the connection was really good. And I was like, you know what, dude? Yeah, I would love to have you on my show as well. So it's all about how can you help other people out, whatever that looks like. But it's not about, okay, what am I going to get out of this? Because the goal with it is you're going to get something out of it. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is once you have an idea of this kind of stuff, that staying in touch with people and building that relationship. One of the things that I do, and I help my clients with this, is setting up in your CRM, actually setting up follow-up tasks. And those tasks are just to remind you to check in with them. There's a process that was created years and years ago by Chet Holmes. It was the Dream 100. Now, nowadays, we've cut it down to the Dream 25 because most people won't come up with 100. But it's like, who are your top, 25 clients? or referral partners, and you put them into a list, and these are people that you build a relationship with. These are people that you're going to check in on every once in a while. Maybe it's sending them an email. Maybe it's sending them a text. Maybe it's commenting on our social media. Maybe it is picking up the phone and calling them. There's a lot of different options out there. The great thing is I always tell people mix and match. Don't use the same method every single time, because that may not be the mode that they want to run in. For me, my default mode is email. But a lot of people aren't as into email as I am. That's okay. So sometimes I'll text somebody. Sometimes I'll pick up the phone. Sometimes I'll just reach out to them on Facebook. But you have this list, this Dream 25, and you can call it whatever you want to call it, but you list of, say, 25 people, 50 people that are people that you know are the people you want to be around, you want to hang out with. And create a flow. And I do this as a workflow, and let me switch back over here. I'll show you. So I'll change this as a workflow, and the reason I do this is because I'm human and I'll drop the ball otherwise. Just go with the fact you're probably going to get busy, you're going to drop the ball, you're going to screw it up. So let's just build a system with the process of, this is the flow, this is what's supposed to happen, and I know that if I don't have this and I don't follow this, I'm not going to do as well as I should. So for me, a lot of times what I'll do is I might have an email that goes out, and that might be after I first call, okay? After a call, okay? Then I might check in, and let's say, you might go through in a week, look on Facebook or LinkedIn, and comment. Just comment on something. Which, by the way, if you're just, scrolling on LinkedIn and you happen to see something that they post, stop, read it. Can you add some value to that conversation? Well, comment on it. There's your task right there. You've already done it. If you're already there, you've already done it. So when the task comes up, it's like, okay, I already did this. Cool. Check. Done. Okay. And maybe, 4 weeks later, just going to send them a text. It's like, hey, we're just thinking about you. Want to see what's going on. How you doing? Something simple like that. And then you can go through and add to this. Think about what do you want to do over the next 6 months. You don't have to check in with them like every week. You could, every 3 or 4 weeks, create a task for yourself to just make sure that you go to LinkedIn, Facebook, whichever your medium is with them, and like and comment on something. And I don't mean comment like, cool. Put some thought into it. Spend 3 or 4 minutes on it. By the way, that right there, that alone has made me a ton of sales, because I don't just use one-word answers most of the time, unless I just don't have anything else to say. But especially if somebody has a thoughtful conversation, whether it's a question or something, an experience that they had, I try to answer it thoughtfully as well, because that's where I'm actually adding value. Just saying great idea is not adding a whole lot of value. Sometimes, you'll have stuff where somebody will say something, they're point on, and you can literally say point on. Sometimes that works. But if you can think about it, you can figure out a way to add some value to it, do that. Because these people will notice that. And then maybe, you might turn around, and if you comment on something and there was something good, that could start a conversation. Conversations lead to sales. And so if you just have stuff like that and go out 6 months, okay? 6 months of this stuff, and just sit down to get a piece of paper or Google Doc or something like that, and just map out, what do you want to do? Mix and match it. Give them a call sometime. Send them a text one time. I recommend the social media commenting and linking, doing that more often. Okay. But if you just do this and plan out like a 6-month process, which, by the way, if you're using a cool CRM like I am, you can literally build all this out. So The emails are pre-written, and you can make them very simple. You just customize them. As, hey, just thinking about you. Want to check in, see how you're doing. Could be stuff like that. Or reminding yourself to email them, along with texting them, along with commenting. You can just set up reminders for yourself and build a workflow in your CRM that reminds you and creates a task for you to do these things. And the great thing is that if you already did something and that task pops up, you just check it off. But the problem is that we get so busy that if we don't have something like this in place, we will drop the ball. I know when I don't follow this process, if I don't do something like this, sometimes I'll go through and I'm like, you know what, dude, I just realized it's been 6 months we haven't talked to each other. How you been? 6 months is too long. So put a system in place for yourself to help you succeed with that. That is how you can build these relationships on a longer scale. Okay? So I hope this was helpful for you. It's not anything rocket science, okay? But I wanted to share this out. If you actually plan out what is your basic communication style going to look like for the next 6 months for anybody that you want to build a relationship with, and that's your criteria right there. If I want to build a relationship with somebody, what should that look like over the next 6 months? The great thing is that 6 months, if you build it out in a CRM, you can usually loop it back to the beginning and start over. Okay? That's what I do with mine, because it's the same basic stuff. But I can build it out and put this stuff in place, it doesn't hurt the relationship. It actually helps the relationship. A lot of times people think that when you're adding automation and stuff like that into your quote unquote relationship building, you're removing the human element. I'm making sure that I do it in a way that it's not removing it, is actually enhancing it, because being human, I will forget, I will drop the ball. And so I would put something like this in place to make sure I don't. You don't have to automate the emails or the text. You don't have to have that all pre-written so it just automatically sends and you don't even look at it. You know, in a lot of situations you shouldn't. But you can put that together with the purpose of creating tasks so you don't forget. If you want to follow up with somebody and you want to build a relationship with somebody, that's on you. You have to do that. And if life is crazy, life is busy, and you forget, which for most of us it is, put something in place to help fix that. That is the power of this stuff. And so if you want to build your relationships, stop and spend a couple hours and do this. Go through this exercise that I talked about today. Go back and re-listen to this. And make sure you got a notepad ready. Write this stuff down. Plan out what a 6-month follow-up for relationships would look like for you. Remember, it doesn't have to be cut in stone. Things can be tweaks. Things can be adjusted. There's no right or wrong way necessarily to do it. But if you have something in place, it's going to be better than not, because you're probably going to forget. And that's where most relationships go to die. So hopefully this was helpful for you. I'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas. Please, if this was helpful for you, reach out to me. I mean, you all know how to get a hold of me. I'm easy to find on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, any of that kind of stuff. Reach out to me. Tell me that this episode was helpful for you, and I appreciate it. Get out there. Have an awesome, awesome rest of the week, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Take care.
And that wraps up another Meet Cool People show. Now, if you like what you heard, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, or review so I can help introduce these amazing cool people to even more amazing cool people. And just remember, meeting cool people is just the beginning. You need to have a system in place to follow up with the amazing people that you meet. This is exactly what we do for our clients. If you'd like to see if my team and I can help you, go to followuprockstar.com and check out the case study video to see exactly how we're helping our clients turn casual connections into cash clients for life. Again, go to followuprockstar.com and we'll see how we can work together to turn you into a follow-up rockstar.